Hi guys, Peter here from Football for Kicks, bringing you another review of the Nike Mercurial Vapor VIII in the Soar white colorway. Soar is the blue. Before I forget, obviously it comes with a drawstring bag, which all top-end Nike shoes come with, obviously. Pretty simple. It says Mercurial, has the Nike swoosh on the bottom. Pretty nice material, not that big. You can fit the boots in it. Maybe some other gear, but all in all, just a pretty simple bag. Okay, onto the shoe. This is really a revolutionary shoe in the Mercurial line, because up until now, Mercurials have all been, or at least top-end Superflies, and Vapors have all been quite stiff, and the material's been thick, stiff. They've been somewhat light. The Superflies, Superfly 2s were actually heavier than the Vapors because of the scent stud on the bottom, which ended up, even though it was supposed to help, it ended up hindering them in the weight category. They were over 200 grams, which isn't even that light for a speed boot. And these ones are just they've actually changed a lot. Whereas from the Superfly 2 to the Superfly 3, they really gave it a new paint job. Not much when it was changed. But these, the Nike stitched flywire, which you saw on all of the Superfly shoes, I thought it was a cool idea. These ones are much thinner, they lack a bit of form. I guess that's a good thing, it forms around your foot. But I thought that's something the flywire really gave it, which these shoes don't have. But these shoes use the same, or they say it's the same Teijin synthetic upper material, which is this time very thin. They've really made it, you can see my finger through there, just drawing the line back and forth. You can really see that's barely even pushing hard, just going like that. You can see it is very thin. I don't know if you can get a look in there, but it looks thick there, but it's really much thinner down there. Anyways, they've basically made it much thinner, much softer, more supple, and this way it can really mold more to your foot. It doesn't hold much of a shape from the beginning. You can see it sort of flattens out through the midfoot, but when they're on your foot they really do form around it, as I showed in one of my older videos. I won't have time to get them on right now, but they are a much more comfortable shoe straight out of the box even than the Superflies were, even after years of using them. It's been an exaggeration, but they are more comfortable than that. Also, they've added a faux suede upper. It's nothing you can see. I'm just showing you what it looks like, but not redundant. But no, you can't actually see the much of a difference unless you've got two different pairs side by side, the faux leather and the faux suede. But it's sort of, it's a soft, it really is like a faux suede. It's soft, it's very comfortable, it feels good on the hands. As for changing the touch on the ball, it doesn't do that much. It's not anything like a difference between leather and synthetic. It's just an additional thing on these shoes, which they have changed around in the newer models between the faux leather, which I'll try and get a review up soon, and the ACC, all conditions control ones, which I will also try and get a review up of soon. Actually, I thought I'd get these out first because they are a bit older, and personally I like them a lot. Anyways, enough of the material. Center lacing. There's no big shot shield or control elements on this shoe. It's pretty much a one-piece upper, which I found nice. You got the Mercurial logo on the back, Nike swoosh on the inside, and one on the forefoot. Toe box in these shoes. It's pretty low. I've got a cardboard insert in there right now, just to give it a bit more form. But they will fit around your foot. If you're not an extremely wide foot, these aren't the best shoes for people with wide feet, but I've got just above average and they fit me fine. One thing I have noticed though, which is probably due to the fact my feet are just above average, is the upper is tearing from the sole plate, or it started off pretty quickly. It's a bit worse on the right boot, as you can see, but it's nothing terrible. It's nothing that affects your performance when you're playing in them. It's just something to note that it probably will happen. I believe they have added some new layers on the new versions, but that's not to say that if you bought a pair of these, they would have changed the production of the older shoes, just on the newer models like the ACC and I believe the faux leather seaweed color. Anyways, onto the sole plate. They've got the glass fiber sole plate, no more carbon fiber, which is another thing I was somewhat disappointed they ditched from the Superfly. I thought the carbon fiber was a nice touch. It added some class, but these are still quite classy. They've got, as you can see, it's darker in the back. It looks almost like the carbon fiber in the back, but it's not. It is just 2 layers of the glass fiber to give this a much more rigid feeling, whereas the front part bends much more. Pick the insole out and just show that to you. There's no flex in the midfoot, but in the forefoot it does bend quite a bit, and these haven't been worn in a while, so they're stiff as they'll get probably. As for the stud pattern, you can see it's quite a change as well. They've gone with 2 studs in the heel, which is a new thing for, well, not a new thing, but it's almost like going with a soft ground stud pattern for a firm ground boot. It means these shoes will not be at all inclined for use on turf, which I know is disappointing to some people, but you just really have to live with that if you're playing on turf. I would not recommend getting the firm ground sole plate. I know you don't get all the same high quality material, but really you're going to end up hurting yourself. 6 studs, it's a lot of twisting on the joints. Well, this isn't actually a 6 stud, but there are 6 main studs really. There's 2 in the back and then 1, 2, 3, 4 on the front. So these 2 studs are, they're studs, but they're not. Those are just the main points. If you're going to get an SG stud sole plate, they will be 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, and then 2 in the heel. Whereas these have the addition of a nice, this is sort of almost a multi-directional stud, as it's like an arrow used for planting going forward and changing direction there. So it's not just a blade, it's an arrow almost. And then another stud here. I'm not exactly, I guess this is used for pivoting. As you can see, it almost forms a semicircle. Changing, I don't actually like this stud. Sorry, changing direction. I don't like this. I find if you're trying to, not scoop chip, but if you're just trying to chip a ball lightly, and if you are playing on a shorter grass or a turf, this stud really will get stuck in the ground, and I find it hinders it somewhat. It's just something that bothers me. It probably won't be a problem for anyone else, but I just thought it's something to note. Here's the right boot. As you can see, they've got an extra layer of the plastic sole on it, and the heel studs. People were worried about the issues with them breaking, because that actually happened with 4 studs in the old Superflies. The heel studs would break. The ones that broke on mine were up here, but a lot of people had problems with heel studs breaking, but these ones have some support beams coming out of them and linking them in the middle, and I've had no issues with stability whatsoever. There's practically no movement in these studs, so I really don't think you're going to have a problem if you're ever worried about that. With them breaking, it should be all okay. And yep, final thing to note, or a couple things to note. I'll just take it out and show you the insert. Pretty basic. It says Mercurial, as all of the Mercurial Vapor. It's somewhat hard to see, but as all of the top of the line Mercurial series did. The last one said Mercurial Superfly on them. It's a punctured insole to give extra, to reduce the weight, I guess. I find I played on these on turf a couple times, so some of those little black pieces did get stuck in them, but really not that big an issue. And then finally, I'll just try and get one last look on the inside, just to see if you can catch really how thin that is. Alright, and last thing I'd like to note, just a little side thing, in case it bothers you, as you can see these do look quite dirty. It's because they're quite difficult to clean. The suede finish on the upper, that actually is a problem for it. It makes it much more difficult to clean if you're going to buy the mango even, or the white Soar of the two launch colorways. It really does make it much more difficult to clean, so that's just something that you should note before you buy these cleats. If you're planning on something, or planning on getting stepped on, which I guess no one is, then scuff marks will show, and you have to put in a fair amount of effort to keep them looking nice, but it's worth it because they're quite a sharp pair of boots, and I really do like them. Alright, thanks guys. Peace for now. Oh, and if this video can get, let's go for whatever, 15 likes next couple hours, I'm going to upload a little video on a sock taping technique. It's pretty basic, used by Cristiano Ronaldo, but I've seen people asking questions about that elsewhere, so thought I might as well show you how. Anyways, alright, peace guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.